Hello everyone, Tmmgamer here, and today I have the pleasure to bring you another one of my fantasy football videos. Now today, considering it's quite near the start of the season, we still haven't had the first complete round of fixtures done in the Fantasy League, I thought I'd show you my team. And unfortunately, after picking this team, which I was quite pleased with, I forgot to set my starting lineup. So I've currently got some players sitting on the bench who've earned me points, and I'll talk a little bit about that as I work through the players. But let's dive straight into it. And in goal, I've gone for Hugo Lloris, a fantastic goalkeeper. Obviously Spurs is number one. I think Spurs are going to do relatively well this season again. I think top 7, and I think they've got a reasonable defence. Got a few decent players they've added quite wisely, and Lloris is a top quality goalkeeper. And the thing with goalkeepers in this fantasy league, you want them to keep clean sheets. Obviously, that's a +4 point bonus, but you also want them to make saves, because for every 4 saves they make, I think they get 1 extra point. So I normally go for a keeper in sort of like the top 7, but somebody who's not going to be completely just doing nothing. Someone who will make a couple of saves to get you a few extra points. So pretty solid. Lloris is worth 5.5 million as well, which is really, really cheap. And first game of the season away to West Ham, he kept a clean sheet and gained an extra point for the number of saves. That's really, really useful. Right back, Mathieu Debuchy, absolutely fantastic signing from Arsenal. Whenever you pick defenders in fantasy leagues, you've always got to be thinking they need to be keeping clean sheets, obviously, which is very, very important, but they also need to be participating either in scoring goals or with assists, and Debuchy certainly does that. As you can see, in game week 1, he already got his first assist for the winning goal by Aaron Ramsey. He had a shot blocked by the keeper, dropped to Ramsey, who hooked it in, and that's 3 points straight away for Debuchy there. Really, really useful. I think Arsenal are going to keep a lot of clean sheets. They're certainly going to create a lot of chances, and Debuchy should pick up a few assists as he goes along and get a few points there. And in a very, very similar mould are my other 2 defenders in the starting lineup, Felipe Luis and Leighton Baines. Obviously, Luis just signed for Chelsea from Atletico Madrid. 6 million, so a little bit more expensive than Debuchy, but I can see him and Cesar Azpilicueta starting most games for Chelsea in the fullback positions, getting a lot of game time, getting a lot of clean sheets. Chelsea have always had a very, very solid defence. 2 unbelievable goalkeepers in Cech and Courtois as well, so whoever starts out of them tonight or the rest of the season, they'll definitely have a solid defence. And again, he's somebody who likes to get forward, can create a lot of assists and chances. Possibly they'll goal here and there, but you really don't expect too many goals from the centre-backs or the full-backs. It's just the assists and the clean sheets you want. And Luis can definitely fill that out. And obviously everybody knows about Leighton Baines, the most expensive defender of the 3 at 7 million. But he takes a lot of set pieces, takes corners, he takes free kicks. Everton will have a reasonable defence as well, so he should get some clean sheets, and he will definitely get some assists this season. So that's the back 3. All of them are fullbacks, and you wouldn't want to play these 3 together in real life, but this is the fantasy team. This is what you want to do. Moving into midfield, on the right-hand side, the 4 I've got, again, they're not really picked in order, but Jordan Henderson, only 6 million, absolute steal. He played in a more advanced role in the game against Southampton. He played further up the pitch. When I think players like Markovic come in, and there's talk about Liverpool potentially signing another striker, if that player comes in, he might drop a little bit deeper and play alongside Steven Gerrard like he did for a large part of last season. But Jordan Henderson's always a player who likes to get forward. Again, great ball through to Raheem Sterling for the first goal, a nice assist point there. He's somebody who's relatively cheap, but will also create chances, score a few goals and earn you a few points. And Liverpool, I think the defence will tighten up a little bit this season. And if you don't know, in the official Premier League one, midfielders actually get 1 point if their team keeps a clean sheet. So that extra little point here and there will be quite useful. And I can't see Liverpool conceding 50 goals again like they did last season. So he's pretty useful. Moving in field to Jack Wilshere. Again, 6.5 million, really nice. Now this is a little bit of an uncertain pick. I had a decent amount of money left, and I bought these 2 midfielders, Wilshere and Navas. And I'm going to talk about Navas in a little bit, but I bought Wilshere in. I was debating going for Ramsey and then having somebody else, but it's a difficult one with Arsenal. They've got so many midfielders, there's going to be rotation. This is a pick just to get him in, because I think he's going to start a little bit at the start of the season to see how he goes. Potentially going to be transferred out, but 6.5 million, it's not a lot of money at all for somebody who's going to be playing in one of the top teams in the league this season, somebody who will get some goals and assists, and fingers crossed, like I mentioned with Henderson, if Arsenal keep a few clean sheets, the extra point he will get from that will be quite useful. Moving across a little bit to Adam Johnson. Again, Adam Johnson, very, very good value at 6.5 million. He will play pretty much every single game for Sunderland. He had a fantastic end to the season last year. I'm hoping he can continue that into the new season, keep the goals up. And the way the goals work, it's actually a lot more valuable to have a goal-scoring midfielder than it is to have a prolific striker, because strikers earn 4 points per goal, midfielders 5 points per goal, and defenders 6 points per goal. So if you can get a lot of goals from midfield, it really does begin to add up. And I think Sunderland are going to do a lot better than they did last year, or certainly better than they did last year. Signed some good players like Rodwell. They're really tightened up a little bit, and I think Adam Johnson's still one of their most important players. If he can have a decent season and get even 6-7 goals, that's a nice amount of points right there, especially for someone who's only the middle range of price really for a midfielder. And the last player I've picked, Alexis Sanchez, 10.5 million, the most expensive player in my team so far. Absolutely fantastic player. I'm really expecting him to have a very, very big season at Arsenal. Another reason, again, he's classed as a midfielder in this. Sometimes you could argue Sanchez is more of a striker than a midfielder, but in the Premier League you can see he is classed as a midfielder, and like I've mentioned a little bit earlier, that means every single goal he scores he will earn 1 point more than if he was classed as a striker, so that's really, really useful right there. Gonna play a lot of the time. He will play in an advanced role all the time. He might play straight through the middle, because, to be honest, I don't rate Yaya Sanogo at all. I think Arsenal would be a much better team if they played Sanchez through in the middle, and then that means they could get more out of Walcott, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Arteta, Cazorla, all of these players, Ozil, so many good midfielders. They are basically putting a midfielder out of the team to play Yaya Sanogo. If you're going to play Giroud, that's fair enough, but if you're not going to play Giroud, you have to play Sanchez up front or buy another striker, because I don't think Sanogo's cut out to be a Champions League striker. Arsenal certainly need better, so it's going to be interesting to see where Sanchez plays, but wherever he plays, he will definitely have an impact. And that's the midfield done. This is where I've got some real firepower now up front. First striker I've picked, my current vice-captain, Wayne Rooney. 10.5 million, the exact same price as Sanchez. Been made Manchester United captain. I'm expecting a big season from him. Got his account off and running straight away, and also gained a bonus point. And if you're not sure how the bonus points work, it's basically worked out on the Opta stats, I think it is, ranging from 3 points to 1 point. So the best player, second best, and third best going down from 3 to 1. Very, very self-explanatory there. But I'm expecting him to have a decent season. The way Van Gaal's looking to set it up as well, with his 3-5-2, it's going to mean Rooney and Van Persie play a lot, especially Rooney, being made captain now. He will be in the starting lineup a lot, which is huge, so I'm expecting him to score some goals. Manchester United aren't a fantastic side. I'm not expecting him to have an unbelievable season, but I am expecting Wayne Rooney to score goals, so he's definitely in the team. And as you can see, he's been selected by 48.3% of people in this league. That's absolutely a massive percentage of teams have selected him, and there's a good reason why. Moving inside a little bit, Bojan. Bojan, what an unbelievable signing that is for Stoke City. And the main thing, 5.5 million. 5.5 million. You've only got a £100 million budget to create your entire side. Getting 5.5 million for Bojan is a bargain. I can see this guy doing really, really well. Obviously, the absolutely legendary defence of Aston Villa kept Stoke City out in the first game of the season. But Stoke, I think, only lost 3 games at home last year. Mark Hughes definitely plays a more attractive style of football, and they did have chances against Villa, especially Bojan. Bojan had a few good blocks by Senderos and Vlaar, a couple of saves from Brad Guzan. He is somebody I am expecting to score goals, and you can't argue with that price. 5.5 million is so cheap for a player like Bojan, who, if he settles in, can easily score goals. And I'm expecting him to do a little bit of a Michu, to come in and have a great first season. And if it doesn't work, you've only spent 5.5 million on him. It's really that simple. So I was really pleased that I could get him in the team. And then alongside him, the guy I'm going to be making captain, Diego Costa. The missing link for Chelsea. Chelsea all last season were crying out for that prolific striker, and Costa, I think, fits into Mourinho's style of play really, really well, because Mourinho has always played with a big striker. Not necessarily a lumbering striker, but somebody like the Drogba mold. The Drogba's obviously the stereotypical Mourinho striker at Chelsea. Big guy, can hold the ball up, gets into the box, looks to score goals, a big presence, and Costa's got that. And when you look at the midfield in behind him, the triumvirate of Oscar, Willian and Hazard, absolutely phenomenal players. He's going to get so much service and he's going to bang in the goals. I'm expecting him to score a lot of goals this season. He is worth 10.5 million, which is quite a lot. But he's playing up front pretty much all the time for the team who I think will win the league. I mean, it's going to be so tight. you could potentially see 4 or 5 teams realistically going for the title this season, but Chelsea are the bookmakers' favourites for a reason. They have an incredible team, and I think Costa's going to score a lot of goals, and that completes my starting 11. I think it's a really, really powerful starting 11. A lot of goal scorers in this team. Johnson, Sanchez, Rooney, Bojan, Costa, they will get you goals. Henderson and Wilshere will chip in here and there, and then we've got 3 attacking fullbacks in defence and a really, really solid goalkeeper. So that the potential for points here is really, really big. Moving on to the bench, I've got Matt Gilks on the bench. Whenever you pick a backup goalkeeper, it's really important just to pick the cheapest one, because unless you get an injury to your number one, which is in this case is Hugo Lloris, this guy is never ever going to play. So you just want to pick somebody with the lowest value you can to save the rest of the money for your team. And by doing that, it's enabled me to get a decent bench. I'm not going to say a brilliant bench, but a decent bench. The first guy on the bench is Jesus Navas. I'm actually debating selling him because the only reason I got him in the team, I picked the majority of the side. I had 7.5 million left for a midfielder, and I went for Navas just to see if he was going to play a lot, because he did start for Man City in the Community Shield, and I was going to see how Pellegrini plays. And again, along with Wilshere, I think Jesus Navas is one of the people who are more likely to get transferred out earlier on in the season, but he is a good player. If he plays a lot, he has a chance to get a lot of assists. And he's got so many potent strikers in and around him. If he puts the ball through to Aguero, Aguero is going to finish it off a lot of the time. So somebody I'm keeping an eye on, definitely, but has the potential to be a good point scorer. Alongside him, Jeff Cameron. Again, Jeff Cameron, another Stoke player. Stoke are very, very good at home. I can see him playing occasionally. And again, 4.5 million, that's really, really cheap. If Jeff Cameron begins to get in the team, he can pick up some easy clean sheet bonuses. He's not a bad 4th choice defender at all. When you have a look at the rest of my back 3, for example, Debuchy, Luiz and Baines, having Jeff Cameron as your backup defender is not bad at all. Should, fingers crossed, get me a few points. But again, if he just sits on the bench, it's not the end of the world. He only cost me 4.5 million. It's not too bad. And then the last player I've got, Daniel Lafferty. I always think it's Kyle Lafferty, but this is definitely Daniel Lafferty. And again, exactly the same reasoning. He is cheap as chips, 4 million. I wanted to save as much money as possible to get my starting 11 set up and ready and raring. So that's the squad. It costs exactly 100 million. I did spend all of my allocation, and I think this is a really, really good starting 11. Unfortunately, because I'm such a moron, I picked my squad and I forgot to pick my starting lineup. So this is the starting lineup I've got in week 1. Now the great news is, because Jeff Cameron didn't play, and because Jesus Navas didn't play, and it's quite likely that Lafferty's not going to play tonight, that means Henderson and Rooney will come into my starting lineup. So I'm going to be getting another 7 points from Rooney, and I'm going to be getting another 5 points from Jordan Henderson. And if Costa has a good game and Luiz has a good game, that amount of points should come up, because I'm a little bit disappointed in my first week so far. If I'd actually picked my starting lineup and not made Bojan captain, I would have had a pretty solid week. But I'm still quite pleased with the way the team's looking, because if you see already, assist from Debuchy, like I was talking about, clean sheet from Lloris, assist from Sanchez, assist from Henderson, goal from Rooney. You can see I've got a lot of players in this team who have the potential to earn me points. As long as I can remember to set my team before the start of the week, I think I'm going to be doing quite well. But one last thing I'm going to do, let's have a look at the league. Like I've mentioned, I've had a pretty bad start due to my failure to set aside. But one person who hasn't had a bad start is Daniel Robert. Daniel Robert, congratulations. Currently, you are leading the way with Drober FC. Let's have a look at his team. He's got Begovic, Lovren, Shawcross, Baines, Sterling, Sanchez, Ramsey, Sigurdsson, Bojan, Giroud and Sturridge. That's a very, very good team. Now, you can't argue with too many of his players there. Sanchez, I think Sanchez will get picked a lot. Sanchez and Baines especially, they're 2 players. Bojan. And then you can't argue with players like Ramsey, Sigurdsson, Sterling and Sturridge. Those are guys who are definitely going to get you goals. Giroud is one potentially, like I mentioned, Wenger's starting Yaya Sonogo. There's a possibility for Sanchez to play up front. I'm a little bit less happy with the Giroud pick because we're not sure how much he's going to play at the moment. But a lot of fantasy football is taking chances. It's having a look at who you think's made the best signings, who you think's going to gel faster, who you think's going to get you points earlier on in the season, and then you can go from there. But you can't argue with 67 points. That's a very, very solid effort so far, well above the average. Although 90 points is the current weekly leader. I'm not going to check that out until the last game has been completed, which is obviously tonight, Chelsea versus Burnley. That will definitely shake up the points some way, because there'll be loads of teams out there full of Chelsea players, and as you can see here, this guy hasn't got any Chelsea players at all, so he has pretty much peaked this week. But you've got to be happy with 67 points. Honourable mention to Asbjorn Jensen. Asbjorn Jensen. I think that's how you pronounce that. Sorry if I've absolutely butchered that, but I thought that was pretty good. And his team is Ben Brickerny. Ben Brickerny, I think. Again, apologies if I completely butchered that. He's actually gone the unusual route of picking a lot of defenders, but Hazard as captain, he has a lot of potential for growth. So this guy might actually be the one who leads the way after week 1. He's done my trick as well. He's gone for a keeper who's relatively cheap. He's got Kareem and El Amadi. Now, El Amadi's actually been linked with a move away, so he might have to transfer him out quite soon. But again, Vaz and Zamora, they're players who are going to play. It looks like he's gone heavily defensive and midfield stacked. A little bit different to what I've done now. I've gone striker stacked with a good midfield. He's got 5 very good defenders there. 5 defenders who are going to start a lot and going to get you a lot of points. And I've gone the other way. I've gone for 3 very good defenders and 3 very good strikers with a good midfield. So this is interesting already. Looking at the 3 teams I've showed, there's different ways to approach this. Picking Ron Vlaar is, I have to say, very, very ballsy. Very ballsy. This guy's obviously a Dutch fan. You know, I do like Ron Vlaar, but I can see Aston Villa conceding some goals this season, unfortunately. You know, it was a fantastic clean sheet away at Stoke, but I'm not sure how many of them we're going to be keeping this season. But again, you're beginning to see a very, very common theme here. Raheem Sterling's popping up a lot. Sanchez so far has been in every team we've looked at. Sturridge in 2. You know, it was a choice for me between Sturridge or Costa, and I went for Costa in the end, but you can't argue with Sturridge either. He's going to get a lot of service this year, and now he's the main man at Liverpool now that Suarez is gone. He's going to be the focal point. A lot of service will go to him, and I can see him having a good season as well. So guys, that's that so far. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. What I'm going to be doing is every single week I'll do an update on the league, show who's played well, run you through the guy who's currently in the lead, and what I'll do when we get a little bit further into the season, I'll be looking at people who've had the best week, so the team of the week. Because what you can do, if I just go back to the league page again, there we go. It shows you your game week score and your total score. So you can actually list it by game week score, but obviously at the moment it's all the same. So there we go. Very, very disappointed, but I'm coming back. I am definitely coming. I'm going to get more points in the side from the substitutions, and Diego Costa's going to score 17 goals tonight, so I'm going to top this. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.